everybody, and welcome to this special Coronacast comedy news for the very first week of 2021, which we were all hoping was going to be a new beginning. We were all hoping that it was going to be funnier, less depressing than 2020. But 2021, it's competing with 2020, isn't it, so far? First off, a lot of countries back in lockdown. I'm back in lockdown, right? It was July last year, and we're like, oh, you're going on tour. Apocalypse Not Now. This is going to be a great tour. When should we get it started? And I was like, look, maybe December, but come on. At worst, let's say end of January, because things will be back to normal. I guess not. So anyway, this is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And so I wanted to do an episode where I talk about the news. And look, let's be honest, okay? I like to do global news. I like to do stories about Malawi. I like to throw in a story about China. I like to throw in a story about Australia. I like to do world news. Maybe mention what's going on in the UK. Mention a little known story from the Congo. But oh no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because I'm a comedian. And as a comedian, it is my job to comment on the absurd. And no country currently can compete with America. They're the champions of absurdity. If you think you could try, you let me know, because right now I think they've blown everybody out of the water. I usually don't like talking about Donald Trump. Anybody who is a regular of the Coronacast comedy show knows that I avoid talking about Trump. Why do I avoid talking about Trump? Because he sucks all of the air out of the room and all of the attention. And I always think the best thing we could do is just ignore the man, right? Ignore the man. It'll drive him crazy. But as much as I would love to ignore him, sometimes you can't do it, right? And I know when I make jokes about him that I am just inviting all sorts of crazy people to send me abuse and to write comments underneath this video about how I'm a puppet of the Dems and so on and so forth. Apparently, right? I know, and I do not like it. I always want to talk about the world, but currently you cannot beat America for absurdity. They opened the year with panache. In fact, Trump opened the year with panache with the release of the Trump tape. Trump tape, right? Now, this was the Trump tape, if you're not aware, where it was leaked that he was trying to cajole the Georgia Secretary of State to find 11,780 votes, okay? To find 11,780 votes. In fact, let's listen to that tape right now.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow, because you have a big election coming up. And because of what you've done to the president, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. The people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Let's talk about this tape, okay? One thing is, with any other leader, this would probably be big news, right? This is him like cajoling people in the administration in the hope of reversing a vote. This would be gigantic news. But for Trump, this isn't even the most remarkable Trump tape. It's like the third most interesting Trump tape. We all remember the pussy grabber. We all remember the pussy grabbing tape, right? And then after that, there was the alleged P-tape. Now, people still argue to this day as to whether the footage of Russian ladies of the night urinating on the 45th president of the United States actually agrees. In fact, those of you watching, you can decide for yourself whether you believe it exists or not. But I'm a believer, okay? I'm a believer. I know it happened. How did you think he became so orange? Urine not orange. Okay, maybe they drank a Barocca and then urinated them. I don't understand exactly how it works. Let's keep going. So, actually, this is the third most remarkable Trump tape, okay? Now listen to him. Listen to his words. Listen how he sounds in this tape where he's talking to the Georgia Secretary of State.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
He has the exact same energy as somebody trying to cajole a woman who is not interested in sleeping with them, giving it up. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's practically begging, but he knows he might be being recorded, so he's not going all the way, and he's just kind of saying, "Look, I just want to find 11,780 votes. That's just like one more than we have. Can you just help me out? Can you help me find and look, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying that you've recalculated, right?" That was not, of course, the most dramatic thing that had happened in America this week. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have spent the entire day looking at Twitter with disbelief, looking at footage, looking at photographs, watching the news with disbeliefs at the bonkers behavior that have happened. Now, look, none of us were really that surprised. Anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure you all know, is that a group of supposed patriots and Trump fans stormed the Capitol building and for a brief period took over. They were strolling the Capitol. Now, I will say this. Nobody actually is that surprised, right? I expected this. In fact, I didn't expect this. I expected worse. Because ever since November, Trump's been talking about it was rigged. Stop the steal. It was rigged. And it's just throwing a little bit of paraffin, and then eventually, here comes a little match. Now, let's look at some of the characters involved in this steal. Okay, so let's start with this fellow. He, of course, has emerged as the unspoken star of the Capitol takeover. He has horns! Look at this man! He has horns! This is not what we expect in a political activist. It gets better. He calls himself a QAnon shaman. I did not know that conspiracy theorists had a clergy, right? Do the other conspiracy theories have them? Is there a flat earther priest? Okay? Is there was no lone gunman witch doctor? Either way, this is this is one of the fellows involved. Now, a number of people have observed. Some people have made the observation. I'm not the first comedian to make this observation. Not the first person to make this observation. That perhaps the reception for these patriots would have been different if they had a slightly different skin color. I quote, one of the people said, "They're shooting at us. They're supposed to shoot BLM, but they're shooting the patriots." Now, this is what I'm saying. Now, some people are saying, no, black people would never storm a building. No. There are bonkers people in every community. Of course there's some black people who would, but none of them would be surprised to be shot. Okay? That's the difference. If a black person decided to storm a government building with his craziness, even in his craziness, he'd be like, this is a suicide mission, right? He would go in it expecting to be shot. But then, okay, after this is all over, poor Trump, things have got worse, okay? Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat have all banned his account. I think it's time for him to approach TikTok and apologize and say, guys, give me a second chance, guys. I didn't know everybody else would have want me. Oh, God. The other thing you have to understand is a lot of people are calling for Donald Trump to be removed from office, for them to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove him from office 13 days before he has to leave anyway. How bad are you at your job that 2 weeks before you're going anywhere, they're like, we need to fire this guy now, okay? If you work at McDonald's, you're leaving in 2 weeks and they fire you 2 weeks before, you know you were masturbating in the burgers or something like that. That is how crazy it is. And of course they're right. Of course they're right, because we don't know what he's going to do next, right? We have, over the last 4 years, operated with Trump holding back. Yes, Trump talking about drinking disinfectant. That was Trump holding back. Trump threatening like North Korea. That was Trump holding back. Now that he knows that, I think he's almost accepted it, right? Because at first he was saying, no, I'm not going to leave. It's fixed. As it dawns on the man that actually he is out, all bets are off. We don't know what he's going to do. This is going to be a very stressful next 2 weeks because the news is going to get weirder. And I'll be right here to report on all of it. This has been the Coronacast Comedy News.